Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and I've got an article pulled up here from BBC News. No, it's not BBC. Daily Mail, Slovakia. But it says Stephen Hawking's chilling alien doomsday prediction spreads as scientists issues alarming warning. And this goes into the scientists that see some object that they are tracking out in outer space, and they believe that it's heading this way and that it's not a natural occurrence. They're saying they're seeing certain movements, and the size of it is showing that it's not just a planet or an asteroid, that it's some type of intelligently made design. But they're saying all this stuff, so the Stephen Hawking's warning has come back up. But let's get into the scriptures, or into this article. It says Stephen Hawking's chilling warning to humanity may be coming true after a renowned scientist claimed a hostile encounter with alien life could be months away. And he said something about November, or I'd seen November somewhere else, but this article is saying December. And first thing my mind goes to with that is that this is just more of Esau's lies, which Esau is the self-proclaimed white man, including the small hatters, and they've done nothing but lie. They've lied about history, about science, about religion, about really everything you could possibly lie about, all in order to put themselves up on top. And this, by putting a date on it, because we do understand that the so-called UFOs or UAPs are the chariots of the Lord, that would show that the Lord's coming back. And or them putting a date on it would show that the Lord is coming back. And so we're going to go here to Matthew 24 and verse 36. It says, that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. And this is for the end of the world, for the end of Esau's world. Nobody knows when it's going to happen for certain. Yahweh Shai doesn't even know. Just Yahweh himself knows when he's going to end Esau's reign, when he's going to end Esau's world in which they live in, or in which we all live in. And them at NASA or wherever these scientists are putting a date on this object arriving screams a false flag or Project Bluebeam or just some type of trick of Esau's. And so, jumping up in Matthew 24, this is verse 23. It says, Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is the anointed, or there, believe it not, because no man knoweth the day nor hour. It says, For there shall arise false anointeds and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that it were possible they shall deceive the very elect. So this very well could be a deception, because every Edomite coming religiously is lying. They don't know what they're talking about. There's nobody named JC that's coming to save them, and so they push out massive amounts of lies. So this could be a great deception, but we're going to keep our eye on it. And we know that with the date, it's not Yahweh Shai. Not to mention, there's other prophecies that still have to happen, like the MOTB going, and World War III getting started, and Jacob's Trouble as well, which you could say we're already in Jacob's Trouble, and you could say that World War III has already started, but the MOTB has not been made mandatory. So we know we're not going to see Yahweh Shai yet. But He is close. He's coming back soon. But getting back to this article, it says Hawking, the famous theoretical physicist who died in 2018, warned the world that making contact with alien life could end in disaster for the human race. The late professor believed that actively seeking out extraterrestrials would bring on a deadly invasion, similar to how cultures on Earth have wiped out less advanced civilizations in the past. And that's particularly the Edomites. They went around with their colonization, destroying everyone's civilizations that they had, their cultures that they had, and then he even stole them unto himself if he saw it to be fit. It says the extraterrestrials would probably be far in advance of us, Professor Hawking said in 2004. The history of advanced races meeting more primitive people on this planet is not very happy, and they were the same species. I think we should keep our heads low. And this goes into Esau's fears of everything coming back on them, in which they are all going to come back on them, as it says here in the book of Obadiah, which is Esau's book. Verse Obadiah 1:15, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. And they've gone around conquering all of the nations. They've gone around killing all of the nations, stealing land from the nations, especially from the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But all of these things are going to come back onto them. People in the world call it karma, and that is what's coming for the Edomites. We're seeing small amounts of it now via words, which isn't that bad, but it's shaming them for their atrocious history. But it's going to eventually, once Yahushua returns, it's going to be physical. And as this book says, every hand of the wicked or every hand of the laborers are going to be on them. They really don't have a future at all. They have nothing to look forward to. But the book of Revelation 19 and 11, because the coming of Yahushua is going to bring all these things back onto them. As thou hast done, it shall be done. So Revelation 19 and 11, and I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. This is Yahushua, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. The Lord's coming to make war with the heathen of this planet, with the 2/3 of Israel, and with the Edomites first and foremost. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? The Lord's coming straight for them. It says his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, because he's putting down every power within this earth. So showing metaphorically him taking all the power from the people. And he had a name written, and no man knew but he himself. That name's Yahushua. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see. This is the chariots invading the earth. This is what people would call, or worldly people would call, a UFO invasion. He's coming back with all the armies of heaven. This is clothed in fine linen, white and clean. They're going to be spectacular up there. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. Because everybody could be saved. No. This is Lord's coming to put down all of these people. He's coming to put down all rule, power, and authority. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of almighty power. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Lord's coming to put down all of the heathen, all of the nations. And he's coming back soon. But he's coming back in what the world would call UFOs or UAPs. There will be an invasion. And this, what Stephen Hawking is worried about, the history of advanced races meeting more primitive people on this planet is not very happy. And they were the same species. I think we should keep our heads low. This is their fear showing, and this is also their manifest destiny. They put all this out into the world, and it's now coming back onto them. Not saying that this object that they're seeing in outer space is actually a real chariot. It could be a real chariot, but at the same time, we know the Edomites are liars and have a lot more deception up their sleeve. So it could be them basically prepping the earth for Project Bluebeam to come out. But we will see. Says he advocated for more passive searches for intelligent life, such as listening to alien radio signals rather than actively broadcasting our presence to the universe. Hawking's grim message was recently revisited by an international team of researchers studying the so-called intelligence trap. This concept suggested that overconfidence could lead to disastrous consequences. In this case, successfully contacting a UFO could draw the attention of a malevolent species that destroys humanity. And the Lord created the earth for man to abide in. It's just the Edomites consider themselves only as humanity. Their civilization is going to be destroyed. Their world is going to be destroyed. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob's the beginning of it that follows. And so, yeah, these chariots are coming to destroy their humanity. It says Hawking's words have gained even more traction after a respected Harvard astrophysicist suggested that the mysterious object barreling toward Earth this December could be a hostile UFO. And jumping back up, the Lord's coming to destroy Esau's world, but he's also coming to redeem the elect, to save the elect from out of our enemy's hands. And I wanted to go back up just because I wanted to make that known that the earth's not going to be destroyed. It's just Esau's world, his age, that he has all this power and influence in. It's going to be destroyed. And there they go with the date again, saying it's going to be in December. And yeah, these are hostile to them. Chariots, or what they call UFOs. These chariots are coming to put them down. Let's get another scripture. Let's go to Isaiah 66 and 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So he's coming with his chariots. These are those UAPs again. As I said, it's a hostile UFO. There's Stephen Hawking there, pictured in 2002, warned that contacting alien life could end up in disaster for the human race. It says, an interstellar object set to approach Earth in December could be a 12-mile long UFO, according to Harvard professor Avi Loeb. And I imagine he's a small hatter with the name Avi. And we know they do nothing but deceive. So I wouldn't get too worked up about this unless it actually is Project Bluebeam. But I don't believe it's actually Yahweh Shai coming back just yet. That MOTB has to be made mandatory first. But this will happen. Earth will be invaded with huge chariots like a 12-mile long UFO. So let's finish this up and go to the book of 2nd Esdras, because it explains Yahweh Shai returning. 2nd Esdras 13 and verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And in this case, sometimes the sea is talking about the actual sea or ocean. Sometimes it's talking about people. And in this case, it's talking about space, outer space. Those are the waters. And it says, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. He cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. But this is showing the thousands of heaven. This is a great armada. This is an invasion of what the world would call UFOs. But these are the chariots of Israel, the chariots of the Most High. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. This is concentrated fire, or laser beams that you see in the movies. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea, came from space. And this is the different space forces of the world, and this is probably even including the men that are in fighter jets while World War III is occurring, because this is going to happen while the earth is at war, while the earth is under fire. As Yahweh Shai said, think that I am come to bring peace to the earth? Nay, but a sword. Salakia. Misquoted that one way off. Think that I am come to bring peace. Or what will I... I better get it before I butcher it too bad. Oops. That fire be kindled. Luke 12 and 49. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I, if it be already kindled? War will be going on, and there'll be all sorts of commotion going on. The plagues are going to be released on this place. But back to 2nd Esdras 13, verse 6. So they're going to have all their space forces and fighter jets and everybody trying to attack Yahweh Shai and his forces. But verse 6 says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. Sometimes in the scriptures, mountains mean an actual mountain or a great hill. Sometimes it's talking about governments, but right here it's talking about Yahweh Shai's chariot, and it just being so large that it looks like a mountain. And I wanted to bring that one out because they said there's a 12-mile object out there. That's huge. I know the walkway that goes around Stone Mountain, around the bottom of it, that's 5 miles around. So this is more than twice as large. so he couldn't see from end to end. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not, because this chariot is that large. This is where they got the idea for Independence Day from. This is, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw, because they're trying to fight their maker, which is crazy, but they're still going to fight. The Lord's going to put the Spirit on them to fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Just burning them all up with the lasers, with that concentrated fire. It's crazy to think that they're going to try to fight the Lord. And this is why Trump set up the sixth branch of the military with the Air Force. With the Space Force. China has a Space Force as well, and some of the other nations do too. And they plan to fight. They're all following Esau to fight the Lord when he returns, because once Yahushua returns, they're all going down. They're all going into slavery. The only people that won't be are the Israelites, because Yahushua is an Israelite, and he's setting up his kingdom under Israel. Or, not under Israel, but the kingdom of Israel will be set up under Yahushua. It says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. This is that war in heaven that's spoken of. It didn't happen thousands or millions of years ago and have the devil cast down into hell. No, this is in the future. This is coming. This is the return of Yahweh Shai, and it's going to be something amazing. But whatever these physicists and astrophysicists and scientists are talking about, where they're putting a date on it, it's most likely some sort of deception. Most likely dealing with Project Bluebeam, but we will see. We're at the end now, so we should be looking for these types of signs and for this type of information. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakach, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, and shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.